Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide News on the network service of the NTA. I am Nolene Ebel Ame, and here is the news. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, has inaugurated an interministerial committee to enforce the Supreme Court judgment delivered on 11th July 2024, granting financial autonomy to local governments in Nigeria. The members of the committee include Secretary to the Government of the Federation as the chairman, Ministers of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and the Accountant General of the Federation as members. Other members include Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, Chairman, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and a representative of state governors, as well as representative of local governments. The committee's primary goal is to ensure that local governments are granted full autonomy, allowing them to function effectively without interference from state governments. This move is in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's efforts to give appropriate implementation to the provisions of the Constitution, which recognizes local governments as the third tier of government. And now to power sector. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission NERC has issued license for mini-grid electricity generation to some companies in the country. In its 2024 first quarter report, NERC says a total of 9 new off-grid generation licenses were issued with a gross capacity of 109.69 megawatts and 3 new trading licenses. The off-grid gas plants are to be built in Lagos, Oyo, Ogun and Cross River states with a total capacity of 100 megawatts. NERC says captive power generation permits are issued to entities that aim to own and maintain power plants for generating power for consumption and not for sale to a third party. Also, in the first quarter report, NERC reveals that it certified 6 meter service providers, including 4 meter installators and 2 meter manufacturers. Similarly, with increasing cases of vandalism of power infrastructure in the country, federal government and the National Assembly are adopting measures to guard power facilities while applying stringent penalties against vandals. This was at an engagement between the House of Representatives Committee on Power, the Minister of Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria. Joshua Ojito reports.
The continuous vandalism of power infrastructure from north to south is of concern to lawmakers and stakeholders in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, and the House Committee on Power is engaging relevant players on way forward, insisting vandals must be punished.
More stringent penalties in the amendment to Electricity Act for 3 things: bill default, power theft, and power asset vandalization.
No doubt the good work that has been done in the Electricity Act, but we're also looking at some amendments where we have to bring very stiff punishment for vandals.
But we also want to have a partnership with the state governments so that they can put their own vigilante or whatever way they can do to assist us. When you bring one tower down, it costs us around 200, 300 or 400 million.
Other issues that dominated conversation are the need to sustain current momentum of power supply, how to address liquidity crisis in the sector, and electricity tariff, where lawmakers submit that going forward, all players, including customers, should be carried along before any tariff review is implemented. The Power Minister highlights gains of the sector in the last 1 year, which are responsible for improved supply, while calling for legislative support and increased budgetary provision for execution of power projects. The engagement between the lawmakers, policymakers, and industry players is expected to be sustained for the overall development of the sector. Joshua Ojitu, NTA News.
In other news, the Alumni Association of the National Institute for Strategic Studies, KURU, FCT chapter says the Commissioner of Police, FCT Bennett Igwe, stands as a testament to the values instilled in participants to impact a better society through values of excellence, leadership, and service to community and country. This was when the Alumni chapter paid a courtesy visit on the police command in recognition of the CP's contribution to the security of the nation's capital. Onotu Yakubu reports.
He is one of their own, and proudly so, by virtue of his invaluable contribution to a critical sector of the Federal Capital Territory. The Alumni chapter says, through the motto of the Institute, CP Bennett Igwe has added professional values that will continue to make meaningful contributions in the various spheres of the society.
You cannot be only within your house and think that everything will be good all around. And that is all that NIPS teaches you, which takes you out of your own sphere. And by so doing, you appreciate what the other man does. And that is the only time we can work together.
The Commissioner of Police, in gratitude, explains that the Institute's motto, towards a better society, instilled subjectivity, value, and excellence for service in him.
And it has accounted to the success we have seen. I'm telling you absolutely. So because NIPS went through me, and I went through NIPS, I was able to imbibe a lot of things. So I want to thank you so much for keeping the flag flying.
With a plaque for further encouragement, members of the association charged Bennett Igwe to sustain the tempo and strategies for enhanced service to humanity. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
In a similar news, police officers are being challenged to educate themselves with relevant policy documents in order to avoid infringing on the fundamental rights of the citizens and unnecessary litigations. Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 6, Headquarters, Calabar, AIG Jonathan Tuwuru, stated this at the decoration ceremony of 12 newly promoted officers from the Inspectorate cadre to that of Superintendent cadre. Paul Abel reports.
Sometimes rift between police personnel and the public is as a result of inadequate knowledge, and the AIG Zone 6 is challenging the newly promoted officers from Inspector to Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP, to avail themselves with necessary information on Public Service Rule, the Constitution, and Criminal Justice Act of Cross River State, as well as improve themselves educational-wise to build trust and restore public confidence as the lead agency for internal security in the country.
You cultivate the confidence, you build trust within the public and the institution. And we will see that we'll all be happy, because development can only take place when there's security.
The newly promoted officers appreciate the IGP for the honor done them and promise to justify their elevation.
I will justify this rank and this confidence bestowed on me.
Officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force have been commended for their efforts during the End Bad Governance protest, and this promotion will serve as a motivation for greater heights in the force. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
From Calabar, we take you to Abeokuta, where motorists plying the Sagamu-Ore Benin Expressway are appealing to both the federal and Ogun state governments to urgently attend to the deplorable condition of the road, especially the Ogun state stretch of the expressway. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Is the situation that travelers contend with on the ever-busy Sagamu-Ore Benin Expressway as they lament the agony, damage to their vehicles and loss of man-hours spent navigating the bad portions of the highway, including cases of kidnapping being encountered on the road.
Uncountable potholes. The other side that is a bit manageable. You see motorists doing one way there, and this has increased the number of accidents.
For us to divert from the other lane to this lane, those roads are no longer motorable.
NTA News gathered that the reconstruction work on the Sagamu-Ore Benin Expressway, approved by the federal government, commenced from the Ore end of the expressway in the year 2011 and terminated at the Ijebu axis of the road in 2014, leaving about 60 kilometers to Sagamu in deplorable condition.
We are telling them that as soon as the negotiation is finished, the contractor will resume back on work.
The first thing that we start is we look at all the bad section in the area, starting from Sagamu area around the sawmill, then we march all the way down to where RCC stopped.
As Nigerians gradually approach the Ember month period, it is expected that the government will do the needful on time, pending the total completion of the expressway, just as it did on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA.
Still staying with Yemi Dalemo, we shall be joining him live, who is at the Italy axis of the expressway, to tell us about efforts to prevent crashes on the road. Hello, Yemi. Can you speak to us further on the condition of the road? What are the responses of the motorists in this regard?
Right. Thank you for joining us on the Sagamu-Ore Benin Expressway. I am actually at the Ilese axis of the expressway, very close to Italy axis. Let me just tell you that the road, Sagamu-Ore Expressway, is about 492 kilometers from Benin to Ore in Ondo State, and from Ondo State down to Sagamu in Ogun State. The federal government has actually done a lot of work reconstructing the road, but only 60 kilometers is, and that is within Ogun State from Ajebandele down to Sagamu before you can join the reconstructed Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I will tell you that driving along this road is an Herculean task, because you cannot drive for 2 minutes without brakes in an effort to either avoid one pothole. And what this is causing a lot of motorists, you have had their pains. But the good thing is that the Federal Ministry of Works and even the Ogun State government are saying that they are going to do something to give succor to Nigerians plying the road. But the point is this: before the effort of the government comes into reality, what is going to happen now that we are going into the Ember month period? And that is why we are asking officials of the road safety managers to tell us efforts that will be put in place to ensure that Nigerians plying this road during this Ember month are actually and return to their destination, and the stories that touches the heart does not happen. So I have with me the Ogun State Sector Command Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Akinwumi Fashaki, who will be briefing us on the effort they put in place to ensure safety along this road on the Ember month period. You tell us, what are your plans?
Thank you very much. As we have said, that the Ember month is coming, and we are envisaging increase in vehicular movement. The Corps has put in place some strategic activities, like deployment of more men along this axis. If you notice that at that Italy junction, we have been having diversion, route violation. So we deployed our men to some strategic areas for traffic control and traffic calming. And at the same time, we are marrying it with public enlightenment. And because recording some crashes from January to July this year, we have had like 9 crashes, out of which 2. But this month, we have not recorded any. So we've taken proactive measure by deploying our men there. Moreover, the Corps has promised us, the Corps Marshal has assured us of more logistics in terms of equipment, like tow truck, so that if there is any broken down vehicle, we tow off. And we are conducting road audits to identify some black spots so that we can liaise with and collaborate with relevant agencies so as to put in place some palliative measures, at least.
We apologize for the glitch there. Yemi Dalemo speaking to us with a road safety official on the deplorable situation of the Ore-Benin Expressway. And now we shall be taking you to Lagos, where Adiola is standing by to present the next set of reports for us. Hi, Adiola.
Nolin. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has tasked building regulators in the state to enforce building regulations to the latter so as to prevent illegal and poorly constructed buildings that could lead to unnecessary deaths. The governor was speaking at the second edition of a Lagos State Building Control Agency LAPSCA Building Sector Stakeholders Forum. S.A. Oamaka reports.
Professionalism in the build sector is a critical undertaking that demands all stakeholders' attention and commitment, particularly when Lagos urban areas are experiencing rapid population growth, which places tremendous pressure on the existing infrastructural facilities. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who decries the complete disregard to building regulations by homeowners and developers, emphasized the need to build right using only certified professionals to have buildings that are safe, healthy, and preserved for future generations.
Only qualified professionals, builders that have been certified, architects that have been certified, structural and civil engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers will be involved at all design and construction stages.
On his part, the General Manager of the Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASPCA, Bolanho Oki, says the introduction of the Certified Accreditors Program by the Lagos State government is to further enhance the safety and resilience of buildings in the state.
We aim to engage not only industrial professionals, but also our community members who are involved in property development, especially our mothers who specialize in training and constantly engage the service of the developer in handling their projects.
In a team of people who go around, you are at the visiting site doing what you call state certification, from the foundation to the first floor to the roof. That is what they are supposed to do to make sure that buildings don't collapse.
To be a handshake, to also support and collaborate with Lagos State Building Control Agency, to be able to checkmate, the menace of building.
Awareness is the most important thing, and we can see how people come in to have the awareness about the situation. So it's a very good development.
The theme of the Building Stakeholders Engagement Forum is professionalism across board in the built environment. In Lagos, S.A. Owamaka, NTA News.
The non-availability of cash at automated teller machines, ATMs, have raised concerns among numerous bank customers who say they solely depend on point-of-sale POS operators to obtain cash to carry out their daily tasks. Amaka Owo, who observed the situation across the metropolis, will tell us more.
As at March 2024, figures from the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System shows that over 3 million point-of-sale POS machines have been registered across the country. The predominance of point-of-sale POS machines, many say, makes cash available and accessible to numerous bank customers, but not without additional charges.
This one now itself is even much better than salary work because nowadays they don't pay much. So I think POS is much better.
While some bank customers are still able to obtain cash from some ATMs, there are those who allege conspiracy between some bank staff and POS operators.
POS operators, they take more money from us, so bank is better.
If I'm a bank, I find it difficult to collect. Higher, they will say, they will give me 20,000, 30,000. But if I come out, if I go to my area, I will collect like 100,000.
When you get to the ATM, there always money there. But if you didn't go in time, those ATM, those POS, will now go and withdraw the whole money and start selling to Nigerians.
And there are limited sum of notes that banks, stock in the ATM.
Many bank customers are, however, urging authorities of banks to ensure availability of cash at ATMs on a regular basis to reduce the manner at which customers buy their own money to service their needs. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue in Kaduna when we return from this break. Please stay with us.
Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thanks for staying tuned and welcome to Kaduna. Jigawa state government is determined to leverage technology for the socio-economic development of the state. Governor Umar Namadi stated this while inaugurating an 11-man task force on a technology village to foster digital growth for accelerated development in the state. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
For inaugurating this all-important committee, Governor Umar Namadi says, is to further position the state for accelerated technology-propelled development using ICT to drive the process. The task before the committee, therefore, is that of research and making a network of synergies with the necessary national and international tech-based organizations and bringing its findings as well as advice to the government on the way to realize its dreams of technological-based development.
We expect the committee to come up with a detailed report on a feasibility and site selection, a master plan and architectural design, a list of stakeholders and their role, a detailed infrastructure and resource plan, and then a legal framework and a governance structure. Then finally, a business plan and sustainability model.
The committee chairman, in his remarks of commitments, assures the governor of doing everything possible to enable the state to achieve its desire of becoming a tech hub.
We intend to bring in so many talents, tech talents, to come to the state and establish industries, startups, and stay here and produce products for us, for the local community, and even the nation or even the world at large.
Already Jigawa achieved a locking position in terms of ICT implementation in Nigeria. In terms of manpower, I don't think there is any state that have manpower equivalent to Jigawa's in terms of ICT. We go to most of these events, shows, conferences, and we see the number coming from Jigawa state. So we already have the competitive advantage.
The committee has 6 months to finish its assignment. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
And here in Kaduna, the Nigerian Defense Academy is taking a center stage in research and development driven by not only developing military hardware, but also other fields of endeavor, thereby saving the country's foreign currency. The forms the tenets of exhibition and the 19th professorial inaugural lecture series delivered by Professor Danladi Garba of the Nigerian Defense Academy with the theme Mechanical Engineering, the Royalty and Foundation Pillar of All Engineering Disciplines. Let's hear more from Haruna Muhammad.
It is the 19th professorial inaugural lecture series of the Nigerian Defense Academy, a testament to the continuous pursuit of excellence in the Nigerian Defense Academy. Professor Aladi Garba, as a mechanical engineer, sets the tune, delivering the inaugural lecture as he dissects the royal mechanical system for which humans depend on, including the armed forces, with notable contributions bettered by research and development to the benefit of the society. The commander, Command Engineering Depot Army, Major General Babatunde Alaya, with the Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, acknowledging Professor Aladi Garba for his innovations of military hardware and technical advancement.
Depth and breadth of his research have not only contributed to the achievement of knowledge, but have also inspired countless cadets, postgraduate students, and indeed colleagues.
Mechanical engineering has been the cornerstone upon which the edifice of modern engineering is built.
The climax of the day was exhibition of various research and development armed aerial vehicle, sidecar for perimeter patrol, fryer using liquefied natural gas, as well as rifle barrels, among other innovations.
We hope that other researchers will make their researches practical to be able to solve problems.
With this research and development born out of the Nigerian Defense Academy, it is not only carving a niche for itself, but setting a pace for in-house manufacturing as a dual institution of both military and academics, saving the country foreign currency. In Kaduna, I'm Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
And Haruna Muhammad's report completes our package from Kaduna. Let's rejoin Norlin in our Abuja studios with more reports. Good evening.
Very well, Salamatu. Thank you very much. As arrangements gear up for the 25th anniversary of the National Hospital, the Apex Health Center is soliciting the support of the NTA for the success of the Silver Jubilee celebration. Elizabeth Omore reports that Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, during a meeting, assured the management of the hospital of unflinching support of the media organization.
The National Hospital for the past 25 years has been committed to delivering high-quality patient care and advancing medical research. Having achieved so much in the health sector over the years, it's time to roll out programs to celebrate achievements in providing comprehensive medical services. And this, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital says, will be achieved with the support of the foremost media organization, the NTA.
Collaborating with the NTA, which has the largest viewership, I would say, in the continent, means that we'll be able to now show the whole world what we are able to do.
Director General, NTA, assured the management of the hospital of necessary support to amplify activities of the care center.
The NTA is committed to using our platforms to further amplify the success of the National Hospital and to bring to light the remarkable stories of healing and care that emerge from your institution.
Activities lined up for the commemoration of the anniversary will kick off on the 2nd of September 2024. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Now, after nearly 10 days of relentless rain, floods continue to devastate homes and farmlands across Kano, leaving many residents displaced and causing destruction with more rain predicted. The situation remains there. Elizabeth Yila Lamido is on the ground in Kano to provide us with the latest updates on the unfolding crisis. Before that, let's take her background report.
Kano State has been designated as one of the areas vulnerable to flooding during this year's rainy season, with 14 local government areas identified as high-risk zones in the 2024 forecast. According to a report from the National Emergency Management Agency, several local governments, including Ajingi, Wudil, and other metropolitan areas, have already been impacted. The affected communities are urgently calling for intervention from the government and relevant stakeholders.
Our building collapsed, while other houses were completely destroyed, and others their rooftops were affected. In the house behind me, the parlor collapsed on our chairs and other properties. Government and well-to-do individuals should please help because a lot of people have been affected.
However, proactive measures have been initiated by the Kano State government and other stakeholders to mitigate the effects of the impending flood. Despite these efforts, the state recently experienced continuous rainfall for 10 days, sparking fear among many residents. The situation demands continued vigilance and prompt action to minimize potential damage. In Kano, Elizabeth Yila, NTA News.
Well, Elizabeth is standing by with an update. Elizabeth, I can see you standing, and from the background there, devastated homes. Can you speak to us on this, and what effort is the Kano State government is doing, to ameliorate this?
Thank you, Nolin. Like you rightly said, Kano State has been identified as one of the high flood risk states in Nigeria out of the 31, and that is according to the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency. In their earlier this year in April, they presented their 2024 annual flood outlook. And as you can see rightly behind me, we are in an area called Gama in Nasarawa local government of Kano State. This is a house that part of it has already been has collapsed, and it's a building that carries about has 8 children and a wife and a husband. That is a total of 5 human beings living in this house, and it's completely in a bad condition. And so far in Kano State, about 17 local government areas have been affected by the flood, and about 8,773 houses affected. And from the beginning of the raining season this year to date, about 18 persons have died as a result of the rains and the flood, and 42 were injured during this period. So far, this is the condition.
All right, thank you very much for briefing us on the situation there in Kano, Elizabeth, as regards of flooding. All right, in other news, the Nigerian National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, alongside a Cuban Center for State Control of Drugs and Medicine, have signed a memorandum of understanding on areas of pharmaceutical for the benefit of the two nations. Suleiman Abdulwahab reports that the MOU was signed at the Cuban Embassy in Abuja.
Thorough processes of developing a new chemical entity into an approved therapy that is safe and effective in treating or preventing disease and promoting medical, commercials, and regulatory expertise are some of the focus of this memorandum of understanding.
For this year, 6 students in medicine school from Kaduna State, and we have a perspective for the modern Nigerian student coming to Cuba for this school, medicine school, because it's important that they're graduating. We have in Cuba the very good record on it.
The DG NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said she considered the deal open, adding that Cuba has high competency in biotechnological products, which are novel technologies for production, formulation, and synthesis of biological substances from the living organisms.
Nigeria working with other countries, Cuba in this case, and Cuba working with us in terms of trading. But one thing that I want to bring out is the fact that Cuba has high intellectual competence in biotechnological products, vaccines, biological products, and
Nigeria will gain.
The DG added that Nigeria and Cuba already have an history of relationship through the slave trade, and many Nigerians are still living in Cuba by origin, and these are some of the reasons the moon and the likes are important. In Abuja, Suleiman Abdul Wahab, NTA News.
From Abuja, we'll be taking you to Makurdi, where Susan Omale is waiting to deliver the next set of reports for us. Good evening, Susan.
Good evening, Nolin. It's good to have you join us in Makurdi. The Nigeria police has taken a step to tackle the rate of kidnapping, armed robbery, and other crimes in the country with the inauguration of Special Intervention Squad. Aliu Tijani reports that more than 100 police personnel have been specially trained to lead the operation against kidnappers in Nasarawa State.
8 weeks of rigorous training, the 169 police officers are ready to lead operations against kidnappings, armed robbery, and other crimes. The Special Intervention Squad, Inspector General Police says, is introduced in view of the rising cases of crimes in the country, as the squad is expected to launch onslaught against criminal elements in the country, thereby making Nigeria a safer environment for all.
We recognize the pressing need for a specialized unit, one that could operate with unparalleled expertise, precision, and efficacy. This unit needed to be armed with the skills and knowledge necessary to counter these severe threats swiftly and decisively.
Minister of State for Police Affairs assures Nigerians that the present administration is committed to reducing crime rates in the country with various initiatives and interventions. She appeals to Nigerians to support security agencies with intelligence so as to track criminal elements in the society.
In a time where our nation faces complex security threats and challenges, the dedication, resilience, and skill that you have displayed throughout this training gives us renewed hope.
Governor Abdullahi Sule commends the Inspector General of Police for conducting the training of the Special Intervention Squad in the state, assuring the police of the state government support to succeed.
Training and retraining is the game of the day, and I thank God that today police is taking training more seriously, because that's exactly the way to go.
Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Governor Abu Kefas of Taraba State has called on journalists to uphold the ethics of their profession as a means of combating fake news, pledging his continuous support to media practitioners in the state. The governor said this at the 2024 Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria News Summit in Jalingo, the Taraba State capital. Dem Hanya reports.
With innovation in the journalism profession, such as artificial intelligence, experts say the need for journalists to uphold the principle of truth, fairness, and accuracy while adapting to these innovations is more paramount now than ever before. This was emphasized at the 2024 Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria FRCN News Summit in Jalingo, the Taraba State capital, with the theme, News Production in a Transitional Media Landscape. Governor Abu Kefas, who was represented by the State Deputy Governor Aminu Abdullahi Al-Khali, said there is need for journalists to adhere to the ethical standards of their profession while adapting to digital media innovations.
The responsibilities of news producers have expanded. In this transitional period, the core principles of journalism, that is truth, accuracy, and fairness, must remain our guiding lights.
The Director General of the FRCN, Mohammed Bulama, said the summit aims to explore how the corporation can thrive in the evolving media space, emphasizing the need to check facts and ensure accuracy.
Nigeria, with its vibrant and dynamic media landscape, provides the perfect backdrop for this exploration of how the FRCN can adapt and thrive in the face of change.
He also appreciated the Taraba State government for hosting the news summit. In Jalingo, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
Coming to you, kill her.
And that does it from Makurdi. Nationwide returns to Nolin in Abuja after this break.
Welcome back to Abuja on Nationwide. The United Nations has reaffirmed commitment to stand with Nigerian government to continue to meet the growing needs of humanitarian interventions across the country. Ruth Agwele reports that this was during a symbolic presentation of relief items by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation in partnership with stakeholders to displaced persons in Malhoni camp in Yola, Adamawa State.
An unusual day for the internally displaced persons in Malkohi internally displaced persons camp in Yola, Adamawa State, a temporary settlement that harbors more than 1,000 displaced persons who have been integrated into the host community. No better way to welcome their host and express their gratitude for the showers of blessings that have come their way. As part of activities to mark this year's World Humanitarian Day, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, together with its partners, have extended a gesture of humanity to the people.
I reaffirm here the commitment of the United Nations in Nigeria and its partners to stand with you, to support you, to work tirelessly to help those who need our help.
It is a day dedicated to honoring humanitarian aid workers and working tirelessly to provide the much needed assistance and recognize the sacrifices they and their families make every day.
Justina Gabriel, an orphan who was granted scholarship to finish her education, has lived in this camp for more than 9 years. She was short of words but filled with tears of joy.
I don't know how to express my gratitude. I never expected this to happen to me today. Only God can repay them.
The ministry says the free medical services to the people and presentation of relief items is part of the federal government's commitment in meeting the growing needs of the displaced persons.
This administration, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have interest in them and he cares for them.
I'm very happy because for some times now, no one has remembered us. So this is God's blessings.
For these humanitarian actors, they believe with collective efforts, as they continue to take action for humanity to restore hope to the people, it will create a pathway for a sustainable future for them. From Yola, Ruth Agwele, NTA News.
And now to sports news.
Football. Nigeria's Falconets continue their build-up ahead of the FIFA Under-20 Female World Cup in Bogota, Colombia, with a series of camp activities. The team's focus is to win the trophy after the country reached the finals of the competition twice. The World Cup kicks off on the 31st of August 2024 with the Nigeria Group D alongside Korea Republic, Germany and Venezuela. In grassroots sports development, the Nigerian Basketball Federation says it's collaborating with various ex-internationals and basketball promoters across the country who are focused on developing the game from the grassroots. Speaking to NTA News, President of Nigeria Basketball Federation, Musa Kida, says the NBBF welcomes all the summer camps and clinics.
Such programs were normally exposed to a certain discretion of they needed to get approvals, they needed to go through the hogs of bureaucracy and all that. I totally abolished that.
In a later development, with the inclusion of kickboxing and kung fu in the 2024 National Youth Games, slated for Sabah Delta State, the competition will now feature 36 sports. The Federal Ministry of Sports Development says the games, initially scheduled for 10th to 20th September, will now hold between 9th and 19th September to allow participants depart for their home states before the Edo State governorship election. The zonal elimination across the 6 geopolitical zones is scheduled to commence on the 20th of August 2024. With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And on a solemn note, on behalf of the family of late Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, a former Minister of Science and Technology who died in April 2024, the burial committee has announced his burial arrangements as follows. 2024 Night of Tribute will be held on 4th November at Musa Yar'Adua Center, Abuja by 5 p.m. Requiem Mass comes at Church of Assumption, Asokoro at 5 p.m. on the 5th November 2024. The body will lie in state on 6th November 2024 at Abia State Executive Council Chambers by 11 a.m., followed by a day of tributes at International Conference Center, Umuahia at 1 p.m. On the 7th of November 2024, another line in state will come up at Ebonyi State Executive Council Chambers at 12 p.m., followed by Requiem Mass, wake at Uburu, his country home, by 5 p.m. Funeral service and interment will come up on the 8th of November 2024 at Uburu, his country home, Ohazara local government area of Ebonyi State by 11 a.m. The committee prays the Almighty God to grant his soul eternal repose. And that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Good evening.